The illusion of life. Sometimes we find ourselves stuck and we become very stagnant in certain environments. And then the energy, the bad wind of depression can find a way to penetrate our energy field. And this can send us on a horrible downhill spiral. Recently, someone who I was working with, unfortunately, took their life last weekend. I won't go into any of the details because it's not my place to share. And the reason why I want to make this video is from my own experiences of battling my own demons, like we all have. When we take ourselves out of a certain environment, the whole world can open up and give us a new perception to what reality really is. So if you are feeling down and depressed, realize that you are not alone and there's people there you can reach out to. People are always there. Just become open, and if we can become vulnerable and we can find a place where we can be supported when we do become vulnerable, this is very, very important. Who I am in England is different to who I am in Peru. Who I am in Peru is kind of different to who I am in Ecuador, because they bring different parts of myself out. There's different versions of myself I need to be. When I'm in England, I'm the uncle, the crazy uncle, who likes to play wrestling with my nieces. Also, working in a good warehouse environment for me is very good for my grounding. When I'm in Peru, I am in ceremonies, sometimes 4 times a week. So I have to be a different version of myself. I have to carry myself in a very different way. Who I am when I'm in the gym is a very different person. Sometimes I'm high energy and I'm very, very focused. We all have different hats we wear depending on the environment we are in. So maybe it isn't the fact that you are depressed, maybe you've just found yourself in a very stagnant environment. So if we can find a way to get out of that environment and flourish in a new environment, it's like when you clean a fish tank. The fish tank can become very, very murky and the water becomes quite awful for the fish to live in. Once we clean that fish tank, it looks vibrant and full of color again. And that's sometimes what we need to do in life. We've got to take ourselves out of stagnant environments. It's interesting because now being back in the work life, I can see around me a lot of people don't want to be doing the job. And I understand it completely. A lot of them, they would probably benefit from having the escape and maybe going over to the other side of the world. But for me, this job is helping me to ground myself. It's helping me to remain humble in the way how I carry myself. Because when we do plant work, sometimes the ego can creep in, and this can also make us become a very toxic person to be around. That's why we have an abundance of spiritual bypassing. We live in a world now where we think if we wear certain clothes, this is going to tell the world who we are and what we know. And that's not what true wisdom is. True wisdom can only come from your own direct experience. We only become wise from living. We don't become wise by reading about somebody else's experience. Yes, we gain knowledge by reading somebody else's experience, but we can only gain true wisdom when we go through our own hardships ourselves. And I do love a hero story when someone is deep in the murky waters and they find a way to get themselves out. And the way how they speak of their stories is enough to light a fire in somebody for that person to then take each footstep as their own, taking back control. Instead of putting on somebody else's shoes, what we all seem to do, we put on our own shoes. And I don't mean physically, I mean spiritually. Walking in our own footsteps and creating our own stories. We all have a beautiful, tremendous, magnificent story to share. We all have our own unique wisdom. So find it. Empower yourself. And let's start this year, because we are still in January, with a positive, happy mindset.